I'm Bridget Phetasy, and this is your dumpster fire for the week of October 17th to October 23rd.
And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns. World burns.
At the presidential town hall, Biden kept his arms out in front of him with his hands in fists. There was no podium, no table.
About that, with just in terms of inflation, because you had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation.
That was just so weird.
So weird.
It was awkward.
It was you could tell Anderson Cooper was trying not to look at him and was a little bit stumbling over his words because he's like, what the is going on right now? And the fact that all these people just have to ignore this and act like what's happening with him all the time is completely normal. It's such a charade. This whole entire administration is just a shim-sham, flim-flam operation. It's like, this is the longest game of pick-a-hand.
I think it was in July that this was just near-term inflation.
He looks like a kid who's hiding behind a chair taking a poop in their diaper. Like, he was like, what if he did just take a poo in that moment?
God.
Sam was texting me because I sent the video to everybody, and Sam was like, "This is elder abuse. The DNC should be arrested or whatever, charged with elder abuse."
It's horrible. They shouldn't put him through that.
It is deeply disturbing.
No,
I was like, what is this? This is not good.
This guy isn't fit to greet people at Walmart. Not even that. I just feel so bad for him. It is crazy, too, like how easily Jen Psaki and the whole people behind him, how shameless and easy it is for them to just pad this and lie. He said something in that town hall about how he had been to the border.
Do you have plans to visit the southern border?
I've been there before, and I haven't. I mean, I know it well. I guess I should go down, but the whole point of it is I haven't had a whole hell of a lot of time to get down.
So then when there was the press conference with Jen Psaki, they asked her about that. When has he been to the border? And she's like, he was in the border in 2008 when he was traveling with Obama.
He did drive through the border when he was on the campaign trail in 2008.
It's like, do you fucking think we're that stupid? It's crazy how easily and condescendingly she just lies to the public. Just like aggressively and confidently lying to the American people about what you're seeing with your own eyes. It's creepy.
Yeah.
Baines!
And we've got President in waiting. Kamala Harris showed surprise for her own surprise birthday party.
That was so weird. That I felt like it was one of those moments where it's like when you say you too when your server says have a good meal and then you want to kill yourself. It's like she walked in and was like, surprise! I'm surprised. And she is so deeply awkward. Deeply. It's so uncomfortable how awkward she is.
It was so weird though, but she shouted it first before anyone else and before she even walked through the door. So it's like, was she queuing them up? It was so weird.
She's the only one who could screw up a surprise birthday party. They were probably all paid actors too. Maybe even her husband. Who knows? Maybe he's a paid actor for
She
just
kissed
many
him
years.
with the masks on.
I know, and it's so awkward. Again, the awkwardness is painful to me. It's like she's just an empty vessel. I've never met a more deeply just cynical politician who stands for nothing and is just, it is like a parody of a politician. She's like Veep.
Yeah, and she's incredibly bad at it. It's just so weird to me.
Bangs!
Troll in exile. Donnie from Queens launches Truth, a new social media app.
Donnie from Queens. We can't get rid of him. We just can't get rid of him.
Truth.
He's already banned from his own app. I was like, Truth, it's in all caps. Is it an acronym for something? Like taking Republicans up the hiney? The Republican underground taint hall? Yes, because if there's one thing I think of when I hear the word truth, it is Donald J. Trump. This is like if OJ started a media company called Glove. This is like if Kamala started her own site called OnlyFeds. Or Biden started one called People Without Alzheimer's.
Well, isn't one of the bylaws of this new app that you're not allowed to speak disparagingly of the app on the app?
Yes, you can speak truth on this app as long as it's the truth the cult allows you to speak. You cannot disparage the app or the dear leader in any way, shape, or form. I mean, at least on Twitter, you can talk about Twitter.
Yeah, you talk about Twitter all the time.
All the time. It's very hilarious to me in general, just that it's called truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Nothing makes me feel more confident in someone telling me the truth than them aggressively
shouting truth.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
I can't handle the truth. Baines.
Oh, boy.
That joke won't make sense for like 5 more segments. There are such things as call aheads, okay?
We're making it up.
How many
We're
call
calling-
aheads
we're
are we
calling-
doing?
We're pioneering the call forward. Here on Dumpster Fire. You're going to have to watch these things twice just to see all the jokes you missed.
You saw it here first, people. The call forward.
Just remember.
The payoff
Pending.
will not be that big.
Then we have,
Get wrecked, China.
all right, war movie depicting brutal defeat of U.S. Army tops China's box office.
Is this like their version of The Man in High Castle? I feel like it is. I feel like they're giving us a lot of clues about their intentions, and we're just failing to heed them. We're like, do 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 do. What are your pronouns, sir? Sergeant, what are your pronouns? I don't have pronouns. Get down and give me 20. It's 3 hours of America getting its ass kicked, and it's the #1 movie in China ever.
Yeah, ever.
It's still shorter than The Irishman, coming in at 3 hours.
Well, it's based on like a battle in the Korean War.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. We watched the trailer. I kind of want to see it.
It's like the Chinese Michael Bay did it.
I know. It's
Explosions and bombs.
It's my kind of movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, go China.
It's about time that there's a movie that watches us get our ass whooped for shit that we're not supposed to be involved in.
But I didn't see a single American person in the trailer, did you?
I did. There was that
One.
general. Yeah.
One. Okay, so we see one general.
Americans would probably love this. All the Americans who hate America. We're
Yeah.
just a country full of cuckolds now. A country full of cucks.
That does not sound appealing.
That's what real men do. They died in the trenches. That's what the theme of this movie is. Thanks.
And then also, China has tested 2 hypersonic orbital nukes capable of breaching missile defenses, as panicked analysts say it defies the laws of physics.
This really says a lot about our intelligence community more than anything, because I don't know why we're surprised we didn't know they were doing this or had these capabilities, because they didn't know that Afghanistan was going to be a show when we pulled out, and quite a lot of other things that they were very surprised by. I'm not sure how I feel about this, other than I do love all the jokes that were going around, like this same week that the State Department, which we're covering, said it was National Pronoun Day, and then Admiral Levine being the first female 4-star general.
I'm convinced these were the quote-unquote UFOs people saw flying around quickly.
Ooh, maybe.
Maybe.
They were like, hey, you've never seen anything like it
They
before.
defy the laws of physics.
It's just Chinese.
China.
I didn't even think it was real. I thought it was just a fake story, and then I actually saw reputable people talking about it, and I was like, oh, I guess that is real. Cool. China's just going to nuke us.
Yep. They're going to nuke us and then make a movie about it. It'll be a huge hit in China. BDE Award
Ah, the BDE Award, folks.
goes to James Kilser, a Marine vet who tackled and disarmed a robber at gunpoint in a convenience store.
I mean, this probably should have gone to the NBA player who stood up for Tibet, but I'm too lazy to go over that whole story.
This one came first.
We can do it next week. We'll give him the BDE next week. This one did come first in the news, and it was great. It's also just a video I could watch on loop.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so funny how nonchalant he was. He like turned around. Most people like crap their pants and run away when they see someone running with a gun, and he just turned around and looked at him like, God, this is so boring. And then he did an interview. He had a MAGA hat on.
Oh, boy.
So pick my target. I said, that's the one I'm going for. And he took an extra step towards me, towards the counter. And he was in my reach.
He's on truth.
He's a truther.
He's a truther.
This dude's definitely on truth. I don't know. Let's see an Air Force guy do that. I'm not buying it. Ayo. The real reason I wanted to do this story was because I look for every reason to make fun of the Air Force.
It's like you have some sort of personal vendetta against them.
I think I'm just more of a Marines girl at heart.
Uh-huh.
Like, subscribe, and comment. Beans! And touch my beans and buttons.
Oh, boy.
Touch my beans and buttons. Flick my beans and buttons.
There it is.
That's going to be my new one. Like, subscribe, and comment. Flick my beans and buttons. Sam, if you could see the position that Sam is in right now. Look at what a director she looks like.
Because I'm
Even with
just
her
sitting like
Uggs.
this.
Patriarchy's so crafty.
I like my beans better than the beans.
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 Is that what it sounds like?
No, I don't know. I couldn't find it. And I couldn't bear watching 6 minutes of a video on ticks.
Dr. Rachel Levine was sworn in as the first female 4-star admiral in the history of the United States Public Health Service Commissioned Corps.
The patriarchy is so crafty, they will turn themselves into a woman to make sure a woman never gets to be the first at anything ever again. Never have the honor of being first. Sorry, ladies. Sorry, next lady who gets that honor. If you are the first female 4-star general, you're not going to get a New York Times write-up. You're not going to get any mentions. You're not even going to get so much as a tweet because you are being erased. And when they tell you that you're not being erased, they're like, Baines! Not even an asterisk on that.
Uh-huh.
Although the girls were telling me that I shouldn't start something like my little chant of not even an asterisk.
Or like, where's the asterisk or something?
Where's the asterisk?
That needs an asterisk.
Nothing. Admiral Levine. Mrs. Doubtfire joins the military. It's like not even a thing that needs a 4-star general.
No, it's a uniformed service of more than 6,000 health, science, and engineering professionals.
We needed more women in STEM, and it's good to see that the men have stepped up. Baines! Cancel!
Margaret Atwood gets canceled, sharing an op-ed piece asking why we can't say women anymore.
A very good question, Margaret Atwood. One we've all been asking around here for about 2 years. And it's great that she's getting canceled because if this means that the left stops wearing those stupid fucking Handmaid's Tale costumes to all their pussy hat events, I am all for it. I'm sorry, but she's just the next sacrifice. Someone has to be sacrificed monthly to the transphobe gods. Or our society cannot maintain its aggressive, oppressive nature on speech. There's so much other going on in the world.
I know. Margaret Atwood then doubled down today, and she tweeted that other thing.
Yeah, she tweeted another story that I'm not sure it came from a trans woman, even though that's who allegedly wrote it. And it was actually very reasonable, I thought, about how women's rights need to not be thrown out and ignored. And these concerns are valid that women have about their spaces and changing areas and prisons. And that our human rights should not be just tossed aside because some sex offender wants to identify as a female.
I mean, good for Margaret Atwood for not caving.
Yeah, well, who knows? She might come out with a statement next week that's like, sorry, I was on Ambien when I tweeted that. Please don't cancel the Connors. I love that show.
I mean, and she's, an old school feminist. So I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't cave.
Wouldn't be surprised if she's a team turf. Everybody is just on a mission to prove Chappelle right this week. Everyone.
All right. And then we've got Sprained My Eyes. Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's The Closer to be supported by celebrities in PSA.
I mean, it is so crazy that you're considered a TERF if you use the word women or woman, unless you're talking about a trans woman. Talk about patriarchy so crafty. They took the word women.
Ugh.
Women!
Baines!
Baines! The media gave that kid the Covington Kid treatment. The guy with the I like Dave sign. Yeah. There was a video going around and it was just a guy who said he had an I like Dave sign. And then all the protesters ripped the sign out, destroyed it.
Why is he breaking my sign? Why is he breaking my sign?
And then when they broke it in half, he was holding the stick. And then they're like, he has a weapon.
He's got a weapon! He's got a weapon!
And they were getting in his face. And then the AP posted a picture of him allegedly screaming profanities at the activists. But we all saw the whole video.
Uh-huh.
And they definitely gave him like the Covington Kid treatment of just lying about one image and slandering him, defaming him, libeling him, and then retracting it in this really horrific, it's an unapology way. And by then it's too late. It's out in Google forever.
I mean, he was so calm
He's storming the capital of Netflix.
Yeah.
He's a truther.
He's storming the capital of Netflix. I was like, welcome to the outright, sir. It's weird, though, this whole movement, because they came out and they wanted all these things. And one of the demands was to label everything that might be hurtful or blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is like the conservatives of the 90s were with rap music.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to see the flip-flopping of you want to censor everything and put labels on it and deem it like offensive and dangerous and violent.
Yep.
You sound like conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. I love, too, how they all say, like, I have a list of demands. Always with the list of demands. This is how fucking people who hold hostages talk. Like, okay, Hans Gruber.
I assume you realize the futility of direct action against me. We have no wish for further loss of life.
We're listening. He's non-binary Gruber.
Non-Gruber.
I'll see myself out.
All right. Then we've got the State Department tweeted about the meaning of listing one's pronouns in their email and social media profiles.
United States pronouns are we're
Oh, boy.
Biden's pronouns are where am I?
I think it was in July that this was just near-term inflation.
The State Department, it's just so funny that they came out with this. Like, the State Department doesn't want to get canceled. Because they need to just show their allyship and be like, why do so many people post this? Because they're terrified, that's why. Everything is racist. Everything is racist.
That's a nice little jingle.
There we go.
All right. Walmart's critical race theory training program denounces the United States as a white supremacy system and teaches white hourly wage employees that they are guilty of white supremacy thinking and internalized racial superiority.
This is like Donald Trump calling an app truth. The audacity of Walmart, who was the first blow to Main Street, the first corporation who started destroying small towns everywhere, to come out and be like, actually, you know who's really guilty of supremacy? No one who ever walked into a Walmart was mistaken about their privilege. There's no whiter rich family than the Waltons. I mean, maybe there are a few, but they're pretty rich. They're worth like $250 billion. Imagine being like a greeter at Walmart and being lectured about your privilege by billionaires.
Ugh. Go f yourself.
Yeah. Listen, greeter, I know you're on welfare because we don't pay you enough, but let's talk about this system of oppression that you are engaging in. I would expect this kind of shit from Whole Foods, but Walmart? Walmart.
Walmart.
You're supposed to be American, Walmart. I mean, it's just their way of like covering their ass and trying to hide behind and getting like corporate accolades. All the top people in Walmart are white. Iowa Hawk, my very good dear friend and one of the most hilarious follows on Twitter, had the best tweet. He said, "Nothing says equity like hiring a $20,000 per day consultant to teach an $8 per hour shelf stalker how he's complicit in an unfair power structure."
Ugh.
And the best was the response where it's like, how else will he know?
Men in the world at the time, those men would have still been alive. Why is their death a crucial thing in history? They were the ones who were going to oppose the Federal Reserve and the only other people on this planet that would have had enough money to stop that from happening.
And then she makes me want to start smoking weed again. I love how like she's totally like high. She's just like, oh, really? Here's the answer. You know who was on that boat? You know who wasn't on that boat? You know why? Because the Fed wouldn't have been invented.
Pretty much.
I'll tell you something else. If the Titanic had never sank, I wouldn't have been able to invent the best drinking game of my entire life and one that also probably turned me into an alcoholic at a very young age. Which is where one drinks a shot of preferably Jack Daniels for obvious reasons every time Rose says the word Jack.
Jack. No, Jack. 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 Give me Jack.
You will be blacked out long before that ship ever sinks. You won't even know what happened. You'll wake up wondering why your bathroom door is knocked down and you're floating on it.
Yeah.
It was the best drinking game.
That game
Jack!
will kill you of alcohol poisoning if
Yeah.
you made it through.
So bummed. I
Dumpster
never
fire
got
does
that.
not take responsibility if you die of alcohol poisoning.
Proof we're living in a simulation. 60 Minutes took an in-depth look at Boston Dynamics and their robots that will probably be our demise.
Baines! Was this Anderson Cooper's interview with Joe Biden? I wonder. It was just Boston Dynamics Biden. Yeah, it was weird because these have been around forever. This isn't like some breaking news. Like breaking news, those viral videos you've been watching for like 5 years, we're finally covering it. But it's creepy how they're trying to mainstream this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't like it.
Here's a little bit of a jump.
I mean, that's incredible.
I don't like the mainstreaming of robots or eating bugs. I'm very skeptical of it. Whenever the press starts pushing something, I am suddenly very suspicious of it. Just when you thought the worst thing from Boston was Patriots fans. Heyo.
Dumpster diving.
What's next in the dumpster? Baines.
Man who had cops called over bloody Halloween displays won't back down.
I'm sorry. I thought this was America. The best thing is that all the neighbors called the cops, and the cops came and they were like, we're cool with this. Well, it's pretty gory.
It was pretty gory. But
It's nothing worse than what these kids are seeing on TikTok. My friend was telling me that her kids came home white as ghosts because they had seen some people like torturing animals or something, and the kids in the neighborhood were all watching it. Yeah, there's some dark, demented on TikTok.
Oh my God.
And so, yeah, the parents, the people in this neighborhood, which was in Texas, and surprisingly, it must have been in some lib part of Texas because they were all calling the cops on him.
I think it was in Dallas. Dallas is pretty blue.
For the gore. They said it looked like a crime scene.
I think that was the point.
It was.
Yeah. This is just a scene from when the Boston Dynamics robots take over. What's more surprising is that his neighbors don't like this in Texas.
They like guns, Bridget, not murder.
True.
The artist formerly known as Kanye West will now go by Ye as Judge grants his name change, and he's also been wearing this weird mask around town.
Yeah, to meet with Michael Cohen. Why is he meeting with him? Trump's former cleaner. Maybe he wants to go on Truther. True.
Maybe he's like, look.
They should have called it Truther. Now I'm like, wow, what a missed opportunity. It would have been so much better than Truth.
Maybe we should create an app, call it Truther.
Oh, God. Ye looks like Eminem with that thing on and the glasses.
It's weird that he does. It's so bizarre. I mean, he's just fully lost his mind.
I don't know. My husband got mad at me for making fun of mentally ill people on Twitter, so I should probably just move on to the next topic. Thanks.
All right. And here we go. TikTok is melting our brains and giving young girls Tourette's.
This story is bonkers. Wall Street Journal came out with a big report based on a study about how young girls in particular are developing tics from TikTok, which is a little on the nose considering that it's called TikTok tics. But more distressing than anything is that in this article, I read the actual sentence that there's a Tourette's influencer on TikTok who has millions of followers, and all these people are imitating their tics and all of their weird things like beans. Apparently, they like to yell beans. She's a British chick. And it's spreading like wildfire.
It's strange how susceptible young girls are to this kind of influence.
This is a social contagion like nothing else that's happening amongst our teenage girls. Like all of them wanting to chop their boobs off at the same time. How strange that this can be called a social contagion and not anything else, considering that they're called influencers. Literally.
Yeah.
What do? They influence you. And these poor kids are so impressionable. TikTok is a mental illness factory.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that all social media kind of is, but TikTok is, I think Twitter is more like what Rogan says, it's the asylum. TikTok feels like the factory that just churns out the mentally ill at high levels.
This is part of China's diabolical plan.
Yeah, TikTok is Chinese psyops to get the children to kill their parents. Beans is probably Mandarin for overturn the state.
What we need is some sort of superhero force leading us to
beans.
Really old swords are being found in bodies of water, and some mysterious force may be behind it.
That was a great tweet. It read, some mysterious force is assembling a team. I don't know for what, but for something. And it was an 8-year-old girl discovered a 1,500-year-old Viking sword. A 7-year-old girl in Cornwall, England, pulled out a 4-foot sword from the same lake that King Arthur's Excalibur was supposedly tossed. And then off the coast of Israel, divers discovered a 900-year-old sword dating back to the Crusades. And it does feel like a team is being assembled out there.
But for what?
And I love that it's like little girls. They're going to fight the forces who are coming against women. Women! It's the team that's going to fight for Team Turf.
Two little girls.
Team Turf assemble.
Team Turf assemble. Dun, 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 dun.
Breaking Bridget. The AAP, AACAP, CHA declare a national emergency in children's mental health.
Yeah, this actually did break me this week because these stupid organizations were all in favor of the lockdowns and came out and also have been all in favor of all of this craziness around gender and all of these bonkers things that are confusing our children and driving them insane. And they were all on board for all this stuff. And now they're like, oh my God, we have a mental health crisis. And I hate the way these things are framed like, oh, because of COVID. No, it's the government response to COVID, not COVID. If we're going to assign blame, let's assign it accurately. And so many people who dared to suggest that this would be tragic for children who would lose out in years of social development and socialization, schooling, education. And then not only that, they're locked up on Zoom school and then spending all their time on the internet all day while their brains are developing, which is the worst place in the world to be. That maybe perhaps this would be a very negative side effect to these mandates and policies. They were called grandma killers for even suggesting this and shamed and told to shut up. And, oh, you guys are just heartless conservatives. And now you're seeing with young kids that they can't recognize faces and they're having trouble with their social skills, very young kids, because in America, unlike everywhere else in the world, particularly Europe, where they don't mask at those young ages because they found it's detrimental to the kids, we're finding that we're having side effects and consequences. And basically, if if you're 13 and you missed out on 2 years of school and then you went back to school, well, you might be 15, but you're still 13 emotionally. You didn't get all of those years. And I can't imagine who would have guessed in an age where we teach fragility is a virtue, where we glorify mental illness, because I feel like there's been an overcorrection from we need to destigmatize mental illness to now glorifying it, as we just covered on our TikTok segment. Who could have foreseen the disastrous consequences of preparing the road for the child instead of preparing the child for the road? I don't know, perhaps the guys who wrote The Coddling of the American Mind, perhaps many psychologists who have been warning of this happening to our children. We're encouraging children who are in puberty to lean into gender dysphoria, which is up until recently considered a mental illness. And instead of the watch and wait, just fully go lean into it, take hormones, chop your boobs off, take all of these irreversible things while you're going through this craziness. Every teenager feels awkward in their body when they're going through puberty. You don't tell them, oh, you're trans. That's crazy. And everybody's gotten on board with this. The medical associations, these psychological associations, the pediatrics, the freaking legal. It is egregious, outrageous, and people need to start fighting back and pushing back. You should not lose your license as a therapist if you decide to watch and wait with a child. If you say, hey, maybe let's talk about this. Maybe you had depression and anxiety, because like with these tics and like with a lot of this gender dysphoria, what they're finding is that these kids had anxiety and depression before any of this other stuff manifested. If you want to address things like eating disorders, anxiety, depression, before you start telling them they're trans and that they need to go on hormones that are going to irreversibly affect their lives and their brain development forever. And not even aside from the trans stuff, just everybody's medicated. Everybody. If you want to even be treated by your insurance, you need to basically be diagnosed. So we have incentivizing diagnosing everyone for everything in order for them to even get treatment. And the quickness with which we will put these children on medicine. 6 years old for ADHD. You'll talk to kids, they've been on meds since they were 6, 7 years old because they couldn't sit still in their stupid, boring schools with teachers who have not evolved. They've just been doing the same thing forever, and the kids are bored in a lot of the cases and young, and they took away their recess and they've taken away all these things. And now they're going to put these kids on meds. Sure, there are some people who probably need to be medicated their whole life, but that's like 10% of the population that is on meds now. It's craziness. Whatever happened to just good old-fashioned being well-adjusted? Why are we allowing this culture of fragility and mental illness to thrive? There's no long-term benefits for anyone psychologically by teaching this, by teaching you that you're a victim, by teaching you that you have no resilience, by teaching you that you're fragile and that you have to have the world be just catered to you instead of you being able to handle the challenges as they come to you in the world. No wonder these kids can't handle shit and are having mental breakdowns and learning tics on TikTok. It's a big one for me.
Yeah.
I can't even catch my breath. I mean, emergency visits for suicide attempts increased nearly 51% among girls aged 12 to 17 years old in early 2021 compared to the same period in 2019. So they declare this national health emergency. But on the other hand, you have a generation of therapists and activists basically telling parents and kids, you're going to commit suicide if your reality isn't affirmed wherever you go, whatever reality that is. They're like daring them to kill themselves.
It's insane.
It's insane. It's insane. Who would have ever thought that telling a kid from age 7 in places like California where they start learning this gender that they can just choose whatever gender they want to be would be confusing to a child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
maybe disorienting, since it's like one of the most basic fundamental truths of life. Like, we've lost it. We've lost the ability to even have these conversations because people are worried they're going to be called transphobes or bigots, and you've got to stop being afraid of having these conversations. These are your kids' lives at stake, and they are suffering. These kids are struggling. Get the off Instagram or wherever you are, parents, and pay attention to what your kids are doing online and pay attention to what they're absorbing and hearing and give them some good backbone. Yeah, I mean, combine this with technology and a year and a half of being locked up in their homes with no socialization during highly influential years. Of course, I mean, I'm shocked. This is my shocked face. Imagine. And now the internet is glorious.
Yeah. Wow. See for this, too sexy for your eyes.
Phetasy News. We had Coleman Hughes on Walk-Ins Welcome. It was a great and interesting episode about critical race theory. Check out Walk-Ins Welcome wherever podcasts are available. Like, subscribe, and join the conversation in Phetasy.com. Phetasy.com is where you can subscribe to the unedited version of Dumpster Fire and get lots of other perks like live streams, workouts, and just an amazing community. Speaking of podcasts, Dumpster Fire is now a podcast, which you can get anywhere podcasts are available except for Apple. We're working on that. Isn't trans? You can get our merch at BridgetPhetasy.com, and we will have some new stuff coming before the holidays, but for now, just shop what we have. Lots of different options for you and your friends. Get a mug. I had an article in Tablet, Lectures from Limousine Liberals, and that one was pretty fire too, if I don't say so. I felt like I needed a cigarette after I wrote it, so check that out. Thank you, Dave Yates, Matt Monroe, Andy Chandler, and Better Phetasy for your writing, editing, and research skills. Follow all of these folks wherever you can find them on the internet, on social media. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Bridge.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Bridget.
Find Sam and Maggie. Maggie's really only in the Phetasy community. Sam is all the places I am. Go to Zen Pro Audio for all of your audio needs. They have sponsored us with this mic, and it is amazing, and we're getting new mics from them for our podcast. Support local businesses like we do. Thank you to our sponsors, Sheath Underwear, Fume, Drome, and One Farm. This has been your Dumpster Fire for the week of October 17th to October 23rd. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich!